Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Transformation Time. Every Thursday, I host an episode of either Transformation Time or Re Behind the Scenes. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Ping Su. Now, before we get started, I want to share some exciting news with you. We have a social networking platform, and it is for all of you. If you are a mentor, if you're an investor, if you are a professional, so those that help investors like accountants, contractors, plumbers, lawyers, realtors, anyone, you want to be a part of this platform because it is transforming the way we all work. And you get to see what Ping's profile's like. Go check him out. Go see what he's about. You'll definitely get to learn a lot more here on him. But you'll also get to see things like what locations he invests in. You'll get to see his bio. You'll get to see what his strategies are like so you can actually start networking with the right people. Now, let's get back to the show. On Transformation Time, our guest speakers are here to help you by sharing their personal development journeys and the mindset shifts they've gone through to get to where they are now. And we are going to also talk about the future. So what is that big goal that he will have, and what changes he's making right now to achieve that great big goal that he has. So I think it's exciting. I don't think Ping is on yet. So we'll just give him a few more minutes to get on. I know we just spoke, so he will come on. But yeah, so Transformation Time, it's all about, and what I love about Transformation Time, or the purpose for me, is one, we get to learn, by learning how they learn, we learn ourselves, like how we get to know ourselves, because that's basically all it is. It's we're getting to know how we tick, how we excel, how we can push what our superpowers are to get to where we want to be. So tell me, what about you guys? Do you know what your superpower is? Do you know where you excel? Curious on if you don't know, what do you think? Maybe just even guessing what it is, because a lot of the times investors actually, or people getting into real estate, I should say, they don't know how easy or how hard it is. They think, oh my God, I'm in some other field. I don't have any skills for real estate investing. And that's so not true. That's basically the purpose of the show, is to share with you that those skills that you have in whatever area, be it in engineering, nursing, teaching, finance, anything that you're doing, you always actually learn skills, and you don't realize how those skills are so transferable, or even how your experiences are transferable. So let me just check one more time. Ping should be coming on. He's still not on. I may have to cancel and start again and see where he disappeared to. Because, yeah, he should be here. Maybe we'll give him one more second. But yeah, let us know. What is it for you? Hey, Barb. What is your superpower, Barb? I'd love to hear what your superpower is. I know you're into flipping and stuff. I don't know if have you always been into flipping? Oh, finally, Ping's here. We got Ping here. But Barb, let us know. I'd love to hear. And even Barb, you have so much experience. Feel free to let us know, what tips you have for people who don't maybe know themselves, don't know what their superpowers and how they can learn it. And now I'm just going to get Ping on. Let me invite. Oh, Ping, are you on the phone? Are you on your computer? Because I actually can't invite you in. So you have to be on your phone. So we may actually have to start over again. So hold that thought, Barb, because we're going to have to come back. I have a feeling. But let me know, Ping, what's going on. Because it's either your Instagram account isn't updated, or you're on your phone and you gotta hustle it, or you have to hustle and get on your phone because Instagram doesn't work on the computer. But while we're waiting, Barb said investigation. Yes, for which one? Yes, you're on the phone. I mean, sorry, you're on the computer. But I know Ping. He can hustle and he can get his phone set up quite quickly. So I think, okay, Barb, you're saying your superpower is investigation. Yeah, mine is, what's mine? Mine is, I feel like I have a couple, to be honest, I have to say. Mine is, I am very numbers oriented. But before I just get ping on, what's my other one? But I think stubborn in a good way. I'm persistent when it comes to things that I believe in and I don't stop. Let's see. Accepting. Usually we have to accept it another few million times. Oh, I think we're here. Hey, Ping. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so let's get started a little bit and let's just share. So I was telling people that they can find your profile. Hey, Mark Baltazar, they can find your profile on Refam, but let's still give them a little bit view of who it is that you are, what kind of investor you are, and what are you up to these
You
days?
know what? That's a great question. So, do you want me to start with what I'm currently doing or who I am?
Um, let's start with who you
Okay,
are.
sounds good. So, you know what? I started investing back in 2010. Very first property was a family support. 2015, I graduated from McMaster University. I was an engineer working in the field. After 1 year of full-time engineering experience, I realized that really wasn't for me. So right away, like I didn't actually wait until the end of the term, the end of my contract, but almost right away, 2 months in, I already knew that this probably isn't for me. And based on the previous student rental experience, I learned that, I need to figure out what to pivot into real estate ASAP. First problem that I was facing was, the cash flow from the properties is just not sustainable for my lifestyle. So figuring out how to monetize in the real estate field was my priority at the time. And then as a business developer, the property management was the route that I was choosing. We ended up creating a real estate sales team. Investment continued to grow, and then right now, like in 2023, we successfully transacted over 110 properties. And that's kind of my story. Journey continues. Right now, our focus is in Ohio. And our other focus is to continue to build a community, property hustlers, as big as we can, because we want to use this platform to really attract more talent, more people that we can create a future collaboration.
Love that. And I'm sure even just to also, the biggest part that you guys do is inspiring people.
Hopefully, we're doing that as well, because the truth is, there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of problems that we went through throughout this journey, right? It's definitely not always pretty. Actually, most of the time, it's a little bit stressful, right?
100%. Completely agree with you. And actually, I feel like that's a good segue into the fears. Because failure is a part of life in general. And I feel like even more is like we fail a lot more once we're getting into business, entrepreneurship, into real estate investing. How did you did you implement anything to help yourself kind of relax with it? Because I assume you probably went through a lot more failures being an entrepreneur than maybe like a 9 to 5 job, right?
So here's how I look at it. I'm always trying to figure out how to get a life that's not just average. Because if I'm thriving for an average life, I would have just stayed as an engineer, full-time engineer, and try to invest, part-time. I always try to, figure out how I can maximize my potential. So I'm also mentally prepared to have that kind of failure throughout this journey. So I'm already kind of mentally prepared, and I know that in order for me to get through a lot of problems, number one is to continue to listen to, Instagram live like this, right? So that I'm always exposed to new information, or even people who are ahead of me, so that I can kind of understand what their problems, what their mistakes or the things that they're going through, and that will help me prepare that okay, I'm not alone in this journey. So that's number one. Number two is momentum will always get you through everything, right? So I try to make sure that I'm keeping up my pace and learning as much as I can, implement the knowledge that I learn as quickly as I can as well. That way, I am always like in the right momentum. I'm always moving around, and at some point, I'm gonna figure something out.
Mhm. Love that. I just want to give a couple shout outs. Barb was saying that I guess she's taken your flipping program and she thinks it's fire. So that's awesome. And then Method plus Melody says, I miss what Ping does. Is he a landlord builder? Does he build distressed? So a quick, well, I guess like what's a quick, just like the strategy? I mean, I guess it's flipping. Is it only flipping?
No,
No, you do long term also, actually. And you have property management,
yeah,
right?
I've done so much in the past 14 years. I learned that there's no one strategy fits in all real estate cycle, right?
Yeah.
2017 was a really good experience for all of us. Foreign tax got implemented by the government, right? Froze the market for 14 months. So that's when I realized that I could not just rely on BRRRR method. I could not just rely on, flips. There has to be. So to answer that question, I've done student rental, I've done conversions, right? Conversion. There's a one infill development that I did it with a partner, didn't really enjoy it, too much work, right? And then I kind of I got ourselves into sixplex in 2017. That was my first step into multifamily space. 2020, when everybody's going crazy with Airbnb, we actually went into commercial real estate, retail, mixed use, retail and residential buildings, and that portfolio actually helped us build up, all the recent, wealth.
That's amazing. And I think, again, that brings up a really good point that you're making, the importance of being adaptable. I think this applies to real estate investors and, again, entrepreneurs, is that times are changing and you have to adapt and change. And so was that easy for you to be able to adapt and change? Has that been something like habitual for you, or is that something that you had to learn?
No, I didn't have to learn that part because when I first came to Canada, I couldn't speak any English. Okay, high school, being a high school student, not being able to communicate anything was obviously a very big change of the environment. And then, I had to slowly build up my confidence to do different things. So I think I have always been put in the position where I had to figure out how to adapt. So getting into real estate, getting into the business side of things, it didn't feel as bad as the transition from Taiwan all the way to Canada. I went to PEI and then moved back to Ontario. Like after I got accepted to McMaster. So all these stuff like kind of built me up into in a way that I'm okay with adapting into a new environment. Usually the hardest thing is how do you get the right source of information and how do you implement. That's to me.
I love that. That's a great point. All of it, actually, all of them are great points. But that's great that, and I feel like immigrants coming in into high school, I notice usually it is the toughest because, it's like you said, you can't talk to anyone, and so you want to, especially I feel like if you're an extrovert, even more you want to. Like, so, I mean, both obviously introverts and extroverts want to talk because you want to be able to communicate, but I feel like the extroverts usually I feel like they learn the quickest because they're like, if I can't speak to people, that's like destroying the inner core. What was your motivation? Are you like extrovert where it's just like you love talking to people and wanted to, or is it more strategic type of thing?
Hey, if you talk to my partner Andrew, he's going to tell you that I was an introvert.
Mm.
Okay, other people has always been one of the things because I have two things I need to overcome. One is the industry knowledge, right? As I'm getting into the industry, I want to make sure that I'm not talking like an idiot, right? I know my stuff, So there's a confidence that I need to bridge for the industry knowledge, but also sometimes when people don't understand what I'm trying to say, there's a confidence that I also need to bridge for the language barrier. Okay, so that has always been, the problem that I had to go through. So as I'm developing the business, as I'm like pitching more and more deals to different investors and trying different things, because even for property management and real estate sales team, I need to be communicating at a high level with the team members and with the clients. And sales became, number one things that I had to overcome. And that doing a lot of repetition, a lot of practice, right? Try to grow that skill set really put me into a position where I'm getting a little bit more extrovert, right? So
Mhm.
I do find myself like my personality kind of shifted a little bit, especially in between 2017 to 2018. That's where our business really took off. And yeah, it definitely changed the way I speak and like how I communicate, how I network with other people.
I love that. It's true. I'm also actually an introvert. And I'm curious though, do you think you're an I mean, sorry, do you think you're becoming more extrovert more just because you know so many in the field, so many people in the field that you feel more comfortable? Or is it like strategies? Because let's say for me, I don't think I've become more extroverted. Uh, but I am able to, let's say now, talk to lots more people because I've gotten used to those types of behaviors. And I'm a person now, I know exactly how to go to a room where I don't know anyone there. Before, that would be like the craziest thing for me to do. Butterflies in my, I mean, I still get a little bit, but now I have a strategy behind it. So I don't get as nervous. How would you say it is for, I feel like you're very strategic. So I feel like that's why I said strategic compared to, are you extroverted or strategic with the English? Because I feel like you're very strategic in the way you think about why you want to do things.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put it this way because I thought about a lot of different things before usually before I go into a room, and the same way that how I started connecting with the local kids back in high school, I always try to figure out exactly what is something that I can offer to other people. What is the common language that I can use, right? Besides the things I'm trying to learn. So I don't go in there to ask people for the information I want. I figure out how to offer something. So back in high school, I used basketball. That was something that I was always playing. I'm decent at it, so I was able to just play with a bunch of kids, and then from there, earn the respect from them, right? And then
Mhm.
I get a group of friends who we always kind of like playing balls and stuff, and that's how I saw slowly practicing my English, my language skill. Similarly,
Mhm.
usually what I look at it is I don't I rarely actually right now I rarely go into free networking events anymore. I usually try to go to the VIP, and that's actually how we met. So usually before I went in there, I try to search it up exactly who's going to be there. I have a few different targets, and I try to understand what they do first, and whether or not they have a bit of a, let's say, social media presence that I can offer to them. So last year when we met, that was when we had a multifamily conference, right, with Seth Ferguson. I went in there with a couple different expectations that, you know what, maybe I can go in there and offer an opportunity to for someone to kind of come into our podcast, right, as a guest, right? So that I'm offering something in exchange for, just having a conversation and see if that can turn into a meaningful conversation like what we're having right now. So that's usually what I do. I don't just go in there blind and say hi to everybody and not sure what to do. I usually have a few different targets, and if that conversation end up developing into a different connection, it's a bonus. So that's
Mhm. I love it. Yeah, you're very strategic. It's really funny, actually. I do very similar strategies, actually. One of the reasons I have these shows was because I was so shy. And for some reason, I have a hard time. I feel like this is an extrovert thing. Like they can go just talk to anyone and like talk about anything, and like non-meaningful type of things. Whereas for me, I feel like I have to provide some sort of value to be able to talk to people. So that was actually one of the reasons why I started the shows. I mean, one of them was obviously to help and support people because of the things I had gone through. But it was a lot to also do with I wanted to meet more people and I needed, to be honest, an excuse to talk to people
Hey,
because I was such an introvert,
if you
sorry.
didn't tell me about this, I wouldn't know that you had the I don't want to say problems, but like I can't see yourself being uncomfortable in a networking events because
Mhm.
our conversation very naturally, right? We're just
Mhm.
conversation, and then all of a sudden you did a quick intro, and then I learned that you're also doing the Instagram live a lot, and then that's
Mhm.
great. So yeah,
We
yeah,
have to work with our like boundaries,
yeah,
right? This is what it is, always working within our boundaries.
that's
So
awesome.
anything else, any other kind of mindset shifts that you went through, getting into real estate, even starting your businesses where you just had these great, huge mindset
Oh,
shifts?
tons. Because usually, here's the thing, how much we can accomplish is literally there's a direct correlation to the actions and behavior that we're taking on a daily basis, right? So in order, sometimes what got us here won't get us to the next level simply because we're taking the action for the goal right here. We can't even get to the next level because without changing the behavior, without changing the action. So uh, I'll be honest with you. Every 3 to 6 months, I feel like I have that kind of moment where I realize that certain things don't work for me to get to where I truly want to be. And usually, I break things down. I have an annual goal. I try to break it down into quarterly goal, right? And then based on exactly what I need to do, I break it down into like monthly or weekly goal. If I can hit those ones, I know I'm hitting my annual goal, right? So to give you some idea, one of the things I really learned, and this was probably like last year or a couple years ago. What I learned is the moment that you're really trying to compress the timeline of how of your goal, sorry, compress the time to achieve that goal, it will change your action completely. Meaning, if I really want to get to the next deal, okay, the sooner I can get into calling people, networking with a local, power team, or the sooner I can get into the motion of reaching out to my friends, families, colleagues to discuss about real estate opportunity to raise some capital, I'm going to get to that goal much faster. So if I'm giving myself 6 months to get to that point, I'm gonna get one property in 6 months or in 12 months. The chances of me not taking that action is going to be probably in month 4 or 5, and I'm gonna like try to rush it and then do whatever. So first 3 4 months, everybody will say, hey, expose yourself to the right education, this and that. But the truth is, we talk about that as though we're actually doing it, but we're not. The truth is the quickest way to learn is through all those actions. Because once you face a problem or once you encounter a situation, then our learning ability becomes a lot more effective. So I learned that the quicker we can start taking those actions on a daily basis, the quicker we can actually get to the result. And you'll be surprised how soon something can happen. Usually, honestly, it can take less than 3 to 6 months for us to see something that's very significant in terms of the result.
Mhm. I love that. That's a great point, and that's so true. And generally, I feel that the reason the results aren't coming or they're not being really found is mainly our minds. Like we're stopping ourselves with the negative thoughts, like, oh, we're not going to find it, or it's not going to happen. But once you actually, have that determination and you're like, this is getting done, and it's also like you said, confidence, right? Once that confidence comes in, that is just like you're getting it done no matter what. Like you said, it just starts coming up. So to how did you keep yourself motivated or give yourself that confidence? Do you have any tips for the viewers that helped you to have that confidence to keep going
Yeah.
and to keep yourself motivated?
Yeah. I have a very big pivotal moment in terms of mindset and how I solve that sense of urgency. Okay, I'll share with everybody here like in just a little bit. But usually is, you know what, you gotta determine your goal first, and that goal needs to be bigger than the pain in between. Okay, so let's say if we say we want to do this. Okay, why is that? Really ask yourself that question. Why do I truly want to get there? Because if the goal here is, I want to get to 10 units, 20 units. Okay, why is that? If that reason is not strong enough for you to go through the pain, at some point you're gonna stop. You're gonna be like, guess what? This is not worth my time and effort. It's just too stressful, right? But the moment that you realize that you can really reflect on that and understand that that goal is much higher than all the struggle that you are going to go through, you're gonna try to get through that ASAP, right? Or try to figure out a way to kind of work around it to achieve that because it's more important to you. Okay, and as cheesy as it sounds, my biggest pivotal moment is when my daughter, was born. Actually, prior to that, I was already mentally prepared for it because I wanted to figure out a way to balance my life. I wanted to make sure that my goal is not being compromised. there's the stuff that I really want her to experience as well. And guess what? A lot of them comes with, a cost. Okay, so the moment I'm painting a picture of the lifestyle that I really want to create, the time that I want to spend with the family, I know I have to hustle. I have to take a different action. I have to really elevate, the income level, but at the same time, I need to be able to put a system and team in place so that I can delegate things out. So 10 to 12 months prior to my daughter was born, so pretty much like when as we're planning in the planning stage, I started really shift my mind, like talking to a lot of people, just like this, right? Networking events, right? Someone who's like build a successful business while having a very like good family with a lot of strong bonding. I asked them a lot of questions about this, and from there, I started getting some inspiration on what I can do within my business. And the truth is, back then, I tried to handle everything by myself, and I became bottleneck of my business all the time. Then I realized,
I love that.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, go on.
I need to shift my mindset. I need to develop my leadership skill. I need to really figure out exactly what everybody around me is trying to achieve. Because if I can combine the personal goal with the business goal together, then I can plug in one person that's that's going to outperform me in that specific position, and then I can just let them run that division as quickly as they want.
Mm. I love that. That's great. Especially that you really made that good point that having kids for both sides, like that usually that responsibility really puts people into hustle mode and like straightening themselves out and being like, okay, I'm done, being a little shit disturber or just partying all the time. It's like all of a sudden, like having a child really does impact and help change your life. And I think to be honest, I say the reason that happens is when you're kind of on your own, you're like, you're kind of like, oh, I can do whatever I want. But a baby is kind of like your accountability partner, no?
Oh,
Because your baby's like, I mean, you're just like, I can't let my baby down. I want the best for
yeah.
it. And so you want to really do everything you can. So your kid kind of becomes your little accountability partner because you just look at him and you're just like, oh God, I need to be better.
Man, it's crazy. Every time I drop her off to daycare, right, I know it's a new environment for her because she's only been to the daycare for I think 3 weeks now, adapting very well. But I always in the car, I always say to her, I'm like, "You're gonna go through some stuff today. There might be like people stealing or like taking the toys away from you, right? You're gonna go through your own struggle," which makes me every time I say it out loud, it makes me think that I also really need to elevate my game, step up throughout the day. So by the time I see her, I can forget about everything I was doing and just focus on that really little time that we have throughout the day to spend some time together. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing because some people say that having a family will slow me down, but you actually put a lot of fire on my ass. I'm like, now I gotta do work, and then I don't have time to waste anymore. Because if I don't work out in the morning, as soon as I get up at 5:30, I don't have a chance to work out anymore. I need to sacrifice other things, right? So those are the pivotal moment for me. And obviously, as the business grows, there's a different realization or experience that we're going through. Still currently, right? There's people come in, leave, right? You have to like restructure certain things. You learn from it, and yeah, it's a constant learning process. And the sooner that we can understand that there's no passive involved in the building real estate portfolio side or building the business side, the sooner you can just get over that lazy mindset. Let's get to work. It will get to the point hire out and delegate, but it's not in the very
100% agree. That I remember the very beginning, the advertisements of like manage your business from the beach, do this from here, or once you have it set up, you never have to touch it again. And like it's like I guess a great way to bring in people, but the reality is if you really want to have a good lifestyle. It's not passive in any way. I'm sure there's things that you can help to do to make things a little more passive, but you will always be involved in there. So I love that point that you made because it's so true.
yeah.
So now let's do a shift. And if you feel free to share your big goal, that 5-10 year plan, we would love to hear it. But also we'd love to hear about what changes are you making right now for that like 5-10 year big goal that you have for yourself.
Well, the goal for the next like 5 to 10 years, I have a number in mind, and actually I can share that with everyone. Keep me accountable for my goal as well. I wanted to. I have a couple of friends, same age, who's doing very successfully in the importing, exporting business, and one person is doing startup. Their company evaluation is over $100 million, and to me, I see the lifestyle, I see the meetings, how much of a high level meeting that they're going through, and that's something that I truly want to experience. Right? There's going to be a lot of grind. There's going to be a lot of struggle in between to be building that business, but their goal is so high up that I truly want to see if I can test myself and get to where they are at this moment. The goal always change. And again, 100 M doesn't, it's just a number, right? But so I really need to figure out a way to get to where I, find a vehicle that's meaningful to me to get to where I truly want to be. And also another thing is whether or not the vehicle that I'm currently in will get me the result, has that kind of potential for me to tap into. So there are a lot of stuff that I'm thinking, and I don't want to pivot away too much from what I'm currently doing. I know the local business that we built so far, property management, over 800 units under our property management business right now. The real estate sales team and the investment is not going to get where I want it to be. And that's why we kind of shift our focus. I don't want to say shift my focus. It's more like a building another platform to draw more talent to really get us onto the online business model as well, which is the online coaching part. So this might take us to, from step 1 to maybe step 5. I still have 95 steps that I need to figure out afterwards. But yeah, that's the that we're planning out so that we can draw the good into the team.
I love it. I just wanted to give Barb another shout out. She's like, you can do it, Ping. Love the motivation. She also said success comes from challenges, 100%. And there was a question here. Method plus Melody says, you pitch to investors what the deal is. What will be the outcome? Do you put any down payment if it's your own money? That's kind of very off topic, but if you still want to answer that.
Let me answer that question very quickly. Okay, so different deal is different, right? There's so many different structure, but I'm gonna explain to you about what I usually do. So joint venture structure, I don't like the idea of 50-50, right? 50% active, 50% passive. The active partner does not putting any money in there. I don't like that concept for various different reasons. Number one is people always, when there's so many people pitching deals without committing their own capital, it makes my pitch a lot easier. If I say I'll throw in this much to cover X amount of the shares, it makes the pitch a lot easier. Okay, so I like to differentiate myself from what everybody else is doing. Number two, the moment that I'm doing this, I can budget service fee in a joint venture structure. I might give out 70%, 65%, or in some cases, a bigger deal, I might give out 75% to the passive investor. And as an active investor, I take 25% to maybe 40% shares. Okay. But that doesn't mean I'm only holding 25 to 40%. I'm going to inject some capital to cover that all the way up to 50%. Now, here's two things that we can do. Number one, I have a scheme in the game which made the deal very easy to pitch, which made the capital raising very easy to raise. Number two, now you give me a reason to build in that service fee, acquisition fee, project management fee, property management fee, or sometimes could be asset management fee. So once I budget that in, this becomes a very profitable business model because every deal that I put together, I get to pull something back, like put something into my pocket. Okay, when we sell the project, me being a real estate broker, I can also, handle that transaction if I have time for it. Okay, so everything's budget, which means as soon as I do the work, I get compensated. Okay, so that's the structure that I really like to do. Now, second thing is for raising capital, because you pitch what is the outcome. So that's kind of like the outcome. And yeah, I can quickly also talk about the capital raising part. I usually go through 4 different phases. One is your lead gen, which is social media, your friends, family, colleagues, right? Try to pique other people's interests. Now you're going to soft pitch. Too many people go into hard pitch right away. Okay, so lead gen, soft pitch, self qualification, and then hard pitch. Once people show a bit of interest through your soft pitch, make sure you qualify yourself first. What have you done to earn their trust to deploy their capital into the opportunity where you and I both can be beneficial from this deal, okay, or benefit from this deal. Once you can do the self-qualification really well and people actually give you the commitment, the hard pitch becomes very easy. Too many people jump into the hard pitch right away, and that shows a lot of desperation.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Those are all great tips. I hope that answered it well, gave at least some direction. I mean, if anything, feel free to reach out to Ping because he has courses, and I mean, I'm sure you always love to give advice, or I'm sure even on your podcast, you can always help answer those questions.
Yeah.
But Ping, thank you so much for coming on. If you guys loved what you heard from Ping, he's gonna be tagged on here so you can follow him, you can DM him, you can just reach out and just see what he's up to. And if you love my shows and you want to see what I'm up to, then definitely follow me too. Ping, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye, Ping. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Take care.